This is Filippo Ganna setting the world record for how far you can ride a bicycle in 1 hour. This is me falling off my bicycle after riding it for 1 hour. Put the two together, what have you got? No, not an Italian unconscious in my garage. You got me riding around a track to see if it's really that hard at all.
That's horrible, stupid, horrible. Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't go well.
My plan was pretty straightforward. I was going to get a little bit of instruction because I've not ridden on a track before, and then I was going to try and ride around this thing in about 8 or 9 seconds, which would match Filippo Ganna's pace. But it's got a bit disconcerting already because, first of all, I've just realised the bikes don't have any brakes. That's issue number one. Issue number two, it turns out that 8 or 9 seconds is about the track record here, and more worrying than all that, this is basically a vertical wall. I can't even describe, I can't walk up it. I might need more than a little bit of instruction.
It's on the set to the big boy setting.
Big boy setting, perfect.
So while James, the senior instructor at Calshot Velodrome, sets me up on the bike, let me explain the numbers. 2022 and Filippo Ganna rode around a track for 60 minutes and covered 56.792 kilometres, or just over 35 miles. So my hope was to do 1 lap of a track at his pace, 35 miles per hour. A bit like I'd done at the running track where I'd managed 1 lap at Kipchoge's marathon running pace. So I went into this very confident.
So my first question is, when I stop my road bike, I'm clipped in, I freewheel while I unclip and put my foot down. How do I unclip to put my foot down while my other foot's going around?
Reasonably confident.
Good, you're nice and stable there. Yeah. What I would suggest doing is when you push off, bum goes on the saddle.
Yeah, I knew that bit already. So, having mastered starting, going and stopping, we're now onto the track, or the bit just inside the track that's nice and flat and not too steep to walk up. Now, a lap here is only 142 metres. In fact, Calshot is famous as one of the shortest velodromes in the world. It's also famous for sharing the Maldives' concerns about climate change and rising sea levels. That's all it shares with the Maldives. So good news is I don't need to hold Ganna speed for long to get round it once. Bad news, I worked it out to be 7.8 seconds for the lap, and at this early stage, that seems impossible.
As I'm doing it, part of my brain is thinking, this is so easy, I can't wait to go fast. And the other half of my brain is thinking, but it still looks really steep.
Have I mentioned the corners here are really steep? So the process here is simple. James first had me ride around, made sure that I could clip in, clip out and ride in a straight line and not fall off. And having impressed him with my skills, we're now working on speed control. Let me explain my cycling background because there's not much to it, which is important because anybody could get down to these guys and have a go at this. You don't have to be someone that's already an expert at not falling off. So I started cycling in 2020 indoors, where oddly I did fall off. I then had dreams of being a triathlete, so I bought as my first bike a spaceship. I then Googled triathlon and realised there was swimming involved, which I hate, so I did a couple of bike races on that thing and then sold it. There's a lesson there about researching a sport before buying carbon fibre things probably, but whatever. I then bought a gravel bike and loved that. So that is now me. I'm an occasional indoor Zwifter and sometimes outdoor gravel rider. So I'm not a total newbie, but I've only been riding for a few years and I'm very used to having brakes and gears, and this thing has none. There is no freewheeling on this track bike. The crank is fixed to the rear wheel axle hub thing. I don't know what the bits are called. So as you slow down, you need to do so by resisting the pedals from turning. At slow speed, that's actually quite cool. I felt like a New York bike messenger. At high speed, it's like being glued to a runaway train.
Mark, did you keep the same speed? No, you sped up. Slow, ease off a bit.
Only been on the track an hour and already too fast. Things are looking good. So this might look quite simple, but it actually feels quite serious and bizarrely hard work. I never really paid much attention to riding in a straight line before. And now that I'm doing so, it's more effort than I thought it would be. So next up is to make a couple of minor adjustments to the bike. The extreme G-forces that I was exposing it to meant the saddle needed adjusting a bit. And then James thought I might be ready to go right up to the top of the track. But first, he wanted to make sure that I'd been paying attention with a little test of my understanding.
Okay, when you got up higher, what could happen to your speed?
I could speed up.
Yeah, you good?
Or slow down.
Yeah.
So James is confident he is dealing with an expert, and I get to ride all over the track, and it is a very weird sensation if you've not done this before. Don't forget, these corners are too steep to clamber up. Yet weirdly, when you ride around them at speed, or the right speed, you can't tell they are banked at all. Your centrifugal force or something means that it feels like you are dead upright the entire time. However, that doesn't mean you can't tell that something is happening when you corner. The sensation it most closely resembles is going down a steep hill and then straight back up the other side, which kind of makes sense because you are traveling in one direction and then a couple of seconds later going in the opposite direction, yet you haven't turned, as far as your brain can tell, around a corner. It's a very strange sort of slingshot type effect with zero turning involved.
Nice one. Ridden at the top. You good?
I always feel like nauseous and it feels much more up and down than tipping over.
So it is time to time some laps. And to give myself the best chance, I need to start my flying lap flying, which means James had me ride around the track right at the top until this point at the far end, when I would then start to accelerate effectively downhill across the track to go past the start line flat out, and then hold it for a lap. Target 7.8 seconds.
Let's start revving it up now. Let's revving it up. Here we go. Get those legs turning. Come on, up, 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 up. Come on! Push, 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 push. Yes!
Going from that high point of the track to the low point to cross the line meant going into that first turn fast, especially given that a second later I would be travelling in the opposite direction. Now, I don't want to get all science here, but a couple of important things are happening. Firstly, this bike has no gears, so the faster you go, the faster your legs spin around. My legs were going about 4,000 revolutions per minute. Secondly, bear this in mind, I weigh over 100 kilos, and if you take that amount of mass and then multiply it by the speed I was going at and then do some sums and things, you come out with numbers that are horrible. Put simply, I'm too big to change direction that fast, and it was reflected in my times. Lap 1, 12:09. Lap 2, 12:54. Let's not worry about lap 3. So it became apparent that I was not going to do a 7.8 second lap, and given how frightening it was to do a 12-second one, I didn't even want to try anymore. Instead, James came up with a new challenge: to try and complete a 1 kilometre distance, that is 7 laps around here. The best in the world get under 60 seconds from a standing start for a 1k kilo. James suggested a respectable time from a flying start would be 1 minute 30. That's an average of 12.85 seconds per lap. Achieve that, he said, and you can go home pleased with yourself. And I was confident because this is about sustained power, and I have experience of that because I've completed a Bradley Wiggins challenge at 440 watts where I held on for over 4 minutes, and that ended great.
Harder than it looks.
Here he comes. Let's go, Mark. Up, 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 up.
And I'm off to an awesome start with an 11.88 first lap, faster than any of my previous attempts. .17, 5 to go.
Up, 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 up.
12.02, 4 to go, and bang on track for a sub 1 minute 30.
Come on, Mark, hang in there, you've got this.
Okay, 13.76, a bit slower, but only 3 left. What can go wrong?
He's gone off blisteringly quick. Come on, hang in there. 2 to go, you've got this, come on, you've got this. Come on. Come on, Mark, you've got to hang in there now. It's going to hurt, but you've got this, come on. He blew up big time. Stop! He went off so fast. With a total time of 1:39.85.
I may have gone off a bit quick, or maybe I just didn't stay quick. Either way, it wasn't quick.
Oh, just stupid.
That was your idea.
That was so stupid. That was horrible, stupid, horrible. Oh.
Do we need the wheelchair?
And what's even worse is that when you cross the line and finish, although this might be particular to me, you can't immediately just fall onto the floor, which you want to do, because doing so would result in serious injury. You're still strapped to the stupid bike and it can't freewheel, so you have to carry on pedalling despite wanting to vomit.
James, thank you for making me as fast as I was. Of all the YouTubers you've ever had here, am I the fastest?
Seeing as you're the only...
Don't say that.
You are definitely the fastest. Definitely the fastest.
Yes, he said yes.
Was that a negative split or a positive split in the end?
Well, it was a negative split in the sense that I felt more and more negative as it went on.
Calshot's fastest YouTuber. Great first effort.
A great first effort. That will have to do on this occasion. Mark, you're a natural and exceeded all expectations. Would have been better, but take what you can get. Obviously, a huge thank you to James and Calshot for putting up with us for the day. If you live remotely close to those guys, go check them out. They do taster days right the way through the track hire. As for Mr. Garner, how he is going quite as fast as he is for an hour when I blew up after a minute is just beyond me. On this occasion, lycra-clad Italian 1, English guy lying on the floor 0.